or you can do corners, or you can just do regular squares, stuff like that, rounded corners. So I like to make mine a bit smaller, depending on how my font is. So I get just about right there. So I'm just gonna press apply. And as you see right here, it's actually, you cannot layer this if you're doing it with metallic stretch or glitters, because you cannot layer glitter on top of glitter. So you're gonna have to make sure that you do an offset path and do a knockout. So after I put my border back in its position, I'm just gonna press Ctrl Z just to put it back where it was originally. I'm gonna select everything, and I'm gonna come over to the side to where the shapes are. And I'm going to press divide right here. And this is actually going to knock out the back so that you're actually laying your vinyl on top of the shirt and not on top of the other vinyls. So while it's loading, just keep loading and loading and loading and loading. Okay, so while that's loading, I'm going to tell you about some of the vinyls that you can layer and some that you cannot layer. We sell a vinyl called PerfecPress HTV Soft, PerfecPress Soft, which is our #1 brand, and it's also our house brand. That vinyl really can be layered. Another vinyl that is good for layering is, we have a brand in here called Polyflex Premium. That's also good for layering, as well as Polyflex Turbo. A vinyl that you cannot really layer is glitter on top of glitter, and because you're not putting the adhesive on the shirt, you're putting it on top of another glitter, so it's not going to last very long, as well as PerfecPress Metallic Stretch Soft. Stretch foils, you cannot layer that, as well as mirrors, flock maybe. What else can't be layered, Winston? What else cannot be layered?
Flock doesn't like to be layered. Metallic on top of metallic doesn't like to be layered. Reflective on top of reflective. It works, but it's not, doesn't last very long.
Yes. So I'm going to repeat what he said. He said that flock cannot be layered, glitter cannot be layered, as well as reflectives. Reflectives can be layered, but it's just not going to last long at all. So try to do this knockout tool that I just showed you to do it. I'm not sure why it's taking so long to load. No.
Oh, it's just going slowly, Kayla.
Very, very slow. This is when the Jeopardy music should come and play.
Well, let's tell everyone what you're working on today. Some of your, where you want to go over.
So today I am going to show you guys how to do a knockout, which is what I'm showing you now, how to weld some things and how to actually cut some things. So I have a lot of questions about flock, 3D foam, even glitter. So I'm actually going to do a few test tries on the glitter to give you the best setting to cut on a silhouette cameo for. Now remember, all cameos and stuff is not going to have the exact same setting. So if you work with cameo for a long time, you should know what works best for you. I'm going to give you what works best for me, but also try to do some modifications if what I tell you doesn't work for you. So just go up or down on a few things. But today I have mirror blue from PerfecPress. I have 3D foam from PerfecPress white. And I also have PerfecPress glitter, as well as PerfecPress soft and PerfecPress reflective. And it is still loading.
And what technique are you showing again, Kayla?
Right now, I just showed you guys how to do an offset path as well as a knockout.
Yeah, it's just loading that path, right?
It's loading the knockout.
And we're using an older computer that we had around the office today, folks, so it's going a little slower for normal. If you have a newer computer, it should be pretty quick on doing something like this. Let's see, do we have any Q&A questions, y'all?
I don't know if you can see, but where the P is, I did forget to weld right there. But I am going to show you how to fix that if you ever make that mistake.
What's your favorite vinyl, Kayla?
My favorite vinyl is the reflective. It's just really cool. Reflectives and 3D foam and flock. I love flock. Flock is really good for doing textured things. Like if you want to do a dog, you kind of want to mimic his fur. If you want to do an African American woman's hair, remember, like it mimics like the kinkiness of it. Reflective is really, really good if you ever want to just mimic like construction workers things. It'll just make anything pop. 3D foam is good for everything, especially when doing a hat, because you know a lot of hats have the thicker vinyls up there or like an embroidery, so it doesn't mock embroidery, but it does give like the foam up look on the hat. And it's still loading. What's your favorite vinyl, Winston?
My favorite vinyl? I personally really like the PerfecPress Reflective.
Nice.
Like, I personally think PerfecPress Reflective is one of the coolest vinyls on the market right now. Especially that hollow one. That's really cool stuff.
Oh yeah, the hollow is really, really nice.
It looks good too. Alright, it's almost done loading. And why do you want to do a knockout and weld? What is the benefit of doing that?
Doing a knockout is to just make sure that you're layering not on top of the vinyls, but on top of the shirt to get the best longevity of it. Like I said earlier, you cannot layer foils, glitters, any of that. Only thing you can really layer is PerfecPress Soft to make sure that it lasts long. So you want to make sure you do a knockout really with anything, but you can get away with it without doing knockout if you're doing PerfecPress Soft. But everything else, you definitely need a knockout.
Cool. Does knockout shirts like last a lot longer? Do they feel better?
Yes, they actually feel so much better because if you're layering, say about 16 layers, I've done 16 layers at a time. If you're layering about 16 layers and you're not doing knockout, it's gonna be so bulky on a shirt, and it's probably just one wash and everything's gonna just fall apart. So doing a knockout actually lets the adhesive sit on the shirt and not on top of another vinyl.
Okay. What are some difficulties people have when they come to making knockouts and stuff?
I think some difficulties they may have is not really with doing like anything within the design thing. I think it's mostly when they do start pressing if you're doing layering. When you're doing layering and you're doing knockouts, you want to make sure that when you press it, you don't do the entire 10 to 15 seconds. Just do a quick little 7 to 8 seconds just to make sure that it's not melting the vinyl or burning the vinyl. And that way, when you do your second layer to knockout, it's gonna lay right on top of your first layer.
Interesting. Oh boy, that computer's going a little slow today.
Very slow.
Well, it's a good thing though. People are coming in and starting to view our live stream. Once again, we're live on YouTube. Right now we're live on also Instagram. Please come over to YouTube though to get the best quality of the live stream where you get a good view like this. We are live on YouTube where you can see on her computer screen and everything going on. So if you're seeing us right now on Instagram Live, check us out on YouTube. Go to YouTube at PerfecPress HTV to check out all the fun of the live stream and be able to get in on this Q&A. Again, PerfecPress HTV on YouTube for the full joys of the live stream. So we can see everything Kayla's working on today. We're focusing on cameo, silhouette, questions, and answers. Thank you all. Hi Kayla, wave to everyone.
Hello.
Wave to the Instagram folks. Again, folks, if you're viewing on Facebook or Instagram, we are doing this live on YouTube where you can see a little bit better of a view. We have a live Q&A going on, and you can see what's going on Kayla's desktop. So check that out, y'all.
It is almost done.
Finally. And we're running into a little computer issue on Kayla's end. Her computer's a little slow, so it's taking a little time to load that, but once it's loaded, we'll be getting running. Again, y'all, this is on YouTube. Type in PerfecPress HTV on YouTube to see the full benefits of the live stream. We just doing a call out on Instagram to get everyone migrated over to YouTube so you can see Kayla live like so. Thank y'all. Here's our YouTube live stream. Waiting for folks to log in and ask some questions. All right. And thank you all on Instagram. I'm going to be logging off. Please go over to our YouTube page to check everything out in a better format. Thank you.
We're on 96%.
Oh, exciting. It's always right on the verge where you're just like, come on, there it goes. Finally,
okay,
y'all.
so I am going to move this off the page, and as you can see, it is knocked out. I'm going to change my colors just so you can see it a little bit better. So change your color, you're going to go up to the left hand corner at the top, and I'm just going to press black maybe. So now you can see black, and then I'm going to change the colors on my inside. So I'm just going to press each letter on the inside. I'm going to show you two ways.
What button are you holding down to let you select all those letters?
I'm going to press shift.
All right.
So that's the V, the T, H, S, S.
So you're hitting shift just to select all those inner letters to separate it all out?
Yes. Right, I'm going to change my color really quick. Let's make it yellow. So you can see I did not select the R's and the E. I'm going to go back and select yellow again, and now you can see.
Cool.
So now you have a knockout. So before I told you guys I was going to show you guys how to do, well, right now I'm going to group this just so I don't have to keep selecting everything. Now it's grouped, but I just press Control G and that groups everything. So I can just place it back perfectly. So now I'm just going to redo that really quickly because I did forget to get rid of the hole right there, so I did not weld before. So going to select everything again, go back to impact, and this also gives you guys a chance just to see what I did for a second time. So again, I'm going to impact, I'm going to go to my star, which is my offset, and it's the same as before, so I'm just going to press apply, and like I said before, I did not weld everything. So I'm just going to select my back. Right now the back is selected. I'm going to change the color just to see. So now my background is selected. So I'm going to go over to the shapes. I'm going to press weld. So all you have to do from this point is just press divide again, and that just shows you how to do a knockout. I'm going to cancel it because I showed you guys before. And it won't cancel. Well, sorry guys. At least it's not going slow as last time. Picked up a little bit of speed. Do you have any questions, Winston?
Right now we're being asked, what kind of vinyl do you like to cut?
The vinyl that I like to cut is,
PerfecPress vinyl.
yes, PerfecPress Soft. Is really, really, really easy to weed as well as cut. I think it's the best thing to cut. It just goes so smooth, weeding so smooth. Another one is PerfecPress Reflective. That one's actually really, really easy to cut as well. But I think the best vinyl to weed is PerfecPress Metallic Stretch Foil. That's honestly, you can see the cut lines in that so amazing. It's just really, really easy.
And we're just waiting for that to finish loading.
I wonder, is the loading thing above my head?
It might be. Yeah, it's right above your head to the side the cameo's on. Yep, it's right there. We'll move it a little bit over to the right.
Hello, loading. Come on, just a little bit more, please. I wonder why it's moving so slow.
Very slow today. And only that one tool it's so slow with. So you have to think real hard about it.
Yeah.
Next time we'll grab a different laptop. It'd work better.
So this design, I'm gonna actually use maybe we can use PerfecPress Soft. I'm gonna use PerfecPress Glitter.
Is there any tips or tricks when you're working with glitter beforehand you have to do, or can you just stick it right in the machine?
I don't really have any tricks beforehand. I just normally just stick it right in the machine, but I always just make sure I do a test cut before I cut my actual design.
So I'm noticing, Kayla, you're not using a cut mat today. Why is that?
Actually, when you use a cut mat, it kind of limits you a little bit to staying within 12 by 12 or 12 by 24. So with the cut mat, without using a cut mat, all you have to do is just lift up this button on the side right here. Where this is lifted up, so you're gonna just push down on it, and it lifts up right here. So depending on what size your vinyl is, if you have a 12-inch vinyl, what this is, you're just gonna leave it over here. But let's say your vinyl is about 8 or 10 inches, you're gonna press the lock button, and then just come over here to where the next hinges are, and then just lock it in there.
Very cool.
And you'll feel a click. And then once you realize what size you want your vinyl to be, the right size, you're just gonna lock it back in place. So it's a 12-inch, so I'm just gonna go back to this over here, lock it back in place. So now I am just gonna change my colors. I always like to color coordinate my stuff to what I'm actually gonna cut. So I'm gonna leave it to light blue and this mint green looking color.
And those don't really show up so great on video today because we're using a green screen on Kayla, and those are green colors.
Sorry, guys.
It's all good.
So I'm just going to change my colors.
You don't have to make the colors match. It's not going to affect anything if it doesn't match the vinyl you're putting in there.
Nope. So after that, I just press send. So at first I was on design at the top. Now I'm going to send. And the light green that I have selected right now is the heat transfer glitter setting. And the second one is going to be heat transfer smooth. But when I do cut, before I cut, I do like to do a box around my design just to give me a weeding box so I do not waste any material.
That's a great trick. That's as simple as just putting a little square around the whole thing, and it makes it much easier to peel out.
So right now, all of my colors are selected, but I'm not going to cut all of my colors at one time. So I'm only going to leave the glitter color selected, which is the light one, as well as my transparent box right here. So I'm going to deselect the second tool. So now I'm going to come down to the bottom. And for my settings for the glitter, I actually leave my blade on 5, put my speed on 5, and I do a force of 21. Now remember, every cameo does not work the exact same, so I'm giving you my settings, but just make sure you modify a little bit for your settings as well. So I'm going to take this out just to check my blade, make sure it's on 5, and it's not on 5, it's on 6, so I'm just going to adjust it to 5. Going to pop it right back in there.
And you're not using the Cameo 4 blade that comes with it, you're using a different blade?
Yes, I am using the auto blade that we do sell here at PerfecPress HTV. So I changed my force down to 21.
Folks, the reason we have the auto blades, because right now the Cameo 4 blades are on back order. We're hoping to get more in soon, but right now they are on back order, so we've been using the older Cameo blades, and luckily the Cameo 4 comes with a bunch of converter attachments that will allow it to work.
So remember, before you cut your vinyl, always make sure you do a test cut. And what the test cut just does, it just allow you to see how it's going to cut before you cut your actual design. And it just cuts a small square with a triangle inside of it. So if you can see, it peeled very, very nicely, so I know this is going to work. So I'm going to put it right back in my machine. And just make sure it's flat and no bubbles are inside of it. So because I did do my test cut, I'm going to just select everything and move it just a little bit over just to make sure nothing gets cut off. I'm just going to press send. And I did not mirror it, but luckily with the Cameo, it does, before you cut it, it does give you option to send as mirrored or doesn't, or don't send as mirrored. But I am going to send mirrored because I am using heat transfer vinyl and not regular craft vinyl. It is looking good so far.
Now, Kayla, that Cameo sounds like a dubstep song. Is that normal?
Yes, cameos are pretty loud, honestly. I think that's really the only downside for Cameo is how loud it is and how it's not as fast as the upper cutters on the market, as the high-end cutters. Can I see that weeder? The weeder. Thank you. And right now, it's just drawing the box around it, which is my weeding box. So I don't know if you guys can see. Of course you can't see, but it is cut. but I'm going to enter my PerfecPress soft vinyl back inside of here. And this setting for the PerfecPress soft is actually going to be on my blade on 5. I'm sorry, my blade is going to be on 4. And on my software, I'm actually going to deselect the glitter and go back to smooth. So it recommends to have your blade on 2, force on 4, and then speed on 8. But that doesn't work with my cameo. Remember, every cameo works differently. You should know what works for your cameo, what doesn't work. So for mine, I'm going to put my blade on 4, and my speed is going to be on 5, and my force is going to be on 12. Now remember, always do a test cut before you cut your actual design. So I'm going to test cut now. And I did cut a little bit into it, so I'm just going to lower my force a tad bit, and if it doesn't work when lowering my force, I'm just going to lower my blade. So I changed my force from 12 to 9, and because I did a test cut in the original position, I'm just going to go lower it a little bit. And just do another test cut. And that's still going through, so I'm just going to lower my blade now. I'm going to lower my blade down to a 3. And it still did cut through a little bit, so I'm just going to lower it down to a 2 now. And it says common. You do have to do a few test cuts before you can actually cut your design, just to make sure everything cuts perfectly and you don't waste a lot of vinyl.
And test cuts are really important, y'all. A lot of folks think they can just stick with one setting forever and that's their one end-all be-all setting, and that usually is what messes you up. Different colored vinyls actually tend to vary in thickness, so just because you have one color of one brand vinyl, sometimes another color might not exactly work out in that exact same setting. And even though we can give as many settings advice as there is, everyone's vinyl cutter wears down different and cuts differently. So it's really not a one setting works for all. And it's very important to do a test cut so you find what setting works best for your vinyl cutter.
So I did find the right setting. My blade is going to be on 2, my force is going to be on 9, and my speed is on 5. And I'm just going to send as is now. I'm just going to press send mirrored and let that cut. And I'm actually going to pause this because it's always good just to make sure that you're checking up on your cameo. And now as I'm checking up on my cameo, I can see that it's not cutting my vinyl. So I just paused it ahead of time. That means I need to do another test cut again to make sure what's going on with my vinyl cutter. But before I do a test cut, I'm just going to double check and make sure that nothing's underneath my blade, because sometimes that can affect how deep your blade is cutting. And nothing is under my blade. So it says resume, but I'm gonna exit out of there just to let it know I want to start over. And I am just going to move my blade over and do a test cut. So it is not cutting on 2, so I'm going to go back to 3. And let's see how that cuts. So I'm going over again. And the reason why I'm going over is because we did do test cuts earlier. So if I do the same test cut over again, I'm just going to be cutting through the plastic at that point. And you're not going to be able to see what your vinyl is actually cutting. And I can already see that my blade is going to be too deep. So I'm moving my blade back down to 2. And I'm just going to up my force, because I see 3 is entirely too deep. So up my force from 9 to 11, just to see how that does. Now that one did cut a little bit deep, so I'm gonna change. At first I had 9, then I had 11. So let's put on 10 going between. And that one actually cut perfectly. So now I'm gonna try again with my entire design. And again, just make sure you keep an eye out on your cameo just to make sure that it is cutting correctly. And now that I see that it is cutting correctly, I'm just gonna go ahead and start weeding out my glitter. So I'm gonna take a wooden weeder that we sell here at PerfecPress HTV, which is gonna help me weed out my glitter. So first, I'm gonna start out with my box. And see that cut out really, really smooth. So remember, the box helped me to save vinyl. So because I created this box, all I have to do now is just take some scissors and just cut straight through right there. And because this is my border, I'm just gonna weed out the insides. And I don't know if you can see, but the P circle actually did come out. So I'm just gonna put a little light right there from the ceiling just to see where the P is, and it actually can show the cut lines. So I'm gonna line it right back up. And this is really, really, really important when doing your knockout. Make sure you line it up correctly because this part right here is actually going to go inside of it. So you have to make sure you line up correctly. Now I'm going to use the pointy side of my tool just to hold it down in place while I pull the P up. And it is a little cricket, so I'm just going to straighten it out a little bit. And now everything is weeded out. So I'm going to take my PerfecPress Soft out of the Cameo 4. I'm going to do the same thing for this one. Weed out my box. And now I'm going to weed out the insides. And also another really good tool that you can use when weeding out the insides is we do sell a tweezer here at PerfecPress HTV. We have a silver tweezer, and that's really, really good for weeding out the insides of lettering because it gets really, really deep inside of there. And here's the tweezer now, but I am done, so I'm going to show you guys next time I use this. So I'm going to take some scissors. Winston, can I get a pair of scissors, please? Thank you. We do not sell scissors here at PerfecPress HTV, but you can go to Dollar General, anywhere else to get a pair of scissors. Walmart, anywhere. So I'm going to go cut straight across, and now you can actually save this piece for another project. And if you want to, if you do have your Cameo for a mat, this is really when your mat comes in handy. If you want to make a t-shirt out of scraps, you can honestly lay this piece on there right like this onto your mat, and you can actually cut a whole shirt out of this. Of course, not an entire shirt, but you can do a few pieces of the shirt out of that. I'm going to do the same thing with my glitter, cut out the box. Okay, now everything is weeded out perfectly. So now I'm going to lay my PerfecPress Soft down on the table. I'm going to take my border and I'm just going to line it up on there just to make sure everything is lined up correctly. And so because we did our knockout, this is literally what's going to go on the shirt. Everything is making contact, nothing's laying on top of each other, everything is on the shirt. So going back to my computer, I'm going to show you guys how to do cursive items, cursive designing. So I'm just going to move my box to the side because I am going to use my box again. Just going to move that to the other side as well. And let's do so I am going to try to find a font. I'm going to capitalize everything. So whenever you do stretch out your design, you always want to make sure you pull from the corners, or if you design anything else, just make sure you hold shift, but never stretch out like this or like this, because it just makes your design look really, really weird. So always stretch from the corners just to hold the shape.
There's a few exceptions with that. Say you want your font to look skinnier or something, you might want to pull it.
So I'm going to put PerfecPress HTV right there. And I'm actually just going to put soft in the middle on the inside. So this is when I'm going to pull, like Winston said, there are a few exceptions. I'm going to pull this a little bit because I'm going to have something on the inside. We're going to do soft. And my favorite cursive font is, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I think it's Armorello, I believe. So this is when the welding tool really comes in place, because I don't know if you can see it, but you can it's actually going to cut out the squiggly lines that's inside of the F and T. So always make sure you weld your cursive fonts before you cut. So on the Silhouette Cameo, you're going to press the shapes again and press weld. And now I'm going to group everything together right there, which is Control G. And I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. I'm going to change my color of the PerfecPress HTV. I'm going to stretch out soft a little bit. So actually what I'm going to do right here is soft. I'm going to go over here to not divide, go back to group. I'm going to do an offset path on this one again. I'm going to press apply, apply, and I'm just going to move this to the middle. And so now I'm going to select PerfecPress, weld. And I'm just going to select soft in PerfecPress HTV. I'm going to press divide. I am waiting for this to divide. It takes so long, I don't even know why.
While that loads, y'all, let's talk about what's coming up this next week on our live streams. So, this Monday we have had Kayla be going over some cameo stuff, and I think we're going to be doing that either every Monday or Tuesday coming up from now on. Focus on cameos. On Wednesday this week, we will be live streaming talking about print cut features. We'll be talking about how to do inkjet white garment and inkjet dark garment transfers. We'll touch base on some laser jet transfers, and some sublimation on dark garment transfers. If we still have time, we'll talk about those as well. And then this Friday, we're going to keep it open. We're going to put out a Q&A on Facebook once again, see what folks are wanting to talk about, and we'll go from there. So yeah, 11 a.m., YouTube / PerfecPress HTV. Check us out. We're always happy to answer questions. Yeah, if you have anything, just let us know. And looks like Kayla's back. Ready, Kayla?
Yes, so actually instead of pressing divide, you're going to press intersect. And intersect just gets rid of what I had in the middle, which was the border of soft on top of PerfecPress. So now I put the soft back inside of it. And you can see that I knocked it out a little bit, and now it says PerfecPress HTV soft. I should have made the border a little bit smaller just so they can see the P and the R clearly. But it's a pretty cool design. It just depends on what you're using it for, what words you're putting it on. So, but that is just ready to cut. We don't have time to cut today, but that would be something pretty cool to cut and press.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for signing in and watching today. You'll be able to check this video out on our YouTube page if you want to rewatch it or anything. Thank you, Kayla, for showing us some cameo things. And we'll be back on Wednesday, y'all. Say bye, Kayla.
Bye.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for watching.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you soon.